Guys, hi there, how are all of you? I hope you're fine. Well, my name is Yusuf and I'm back on Yusuf Reacts. Well guys, today I'm back again with a very interesting movie review that is there for you people. And before I start, I want all of you to subscribe to my channel. I want you guys to like my videos. I want you to share them as much as you guys can, because guys, you know it very well. Your support is something that is extremely important. Anyhow, moving on with the movie that we guys are going to be talking about. The movie that we guys are going to be talking about is going to be Extract. Now this movie, all in all, if we talk about it, is really something which is quite unusual, and the storyline is really something which is very remarkable because of the fact, unlike the usual rom-coms that are there, this movie really has a lot to offer in that domain. And if I talk about that particular thing, it is really something which is sensational. So if I talk about this particular movie, and if I say this thing up, what actually is the thing that this movie has to offer, let's start off with the story of it. This movie actually starts off with what? This movie actually starts off with a particular guy who is owning his own particular factory. He's someone who came into the business of extracting different kinds of fruits and making and converting them into different kinds of citric juices and stuff like that, and that's from where he actually evolved with it. And he owns a particular factory in that domain, and that's what he is going on with, and each and everything is just going as routine. The problem that is there is what? The problem with him is marital life that is there. His wife actually, if he gets home by 8, she wears a certain kinds of shorts or trousers that are there, and those trousers are tied up, and then if once they get tied up, they can't be opened. The thing that basically this movie actually focuses on or targets about is what? The thing that it targets over here is this thing up that in a marital relationship, you need to have few things that are really important. Now there are certain things that are literally a necessity that is there, and especially when you talk about love making, that is extremely important. If that thing is missing, then obviously there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be causing a concern, and this is what the whole thing is over here. Because of the fact that he's unable to make love with his wife, now this is something which is really there. And his wife on the other hand is someone who I guess is someone who does not feel that thing up, who is not being on that regard, or she's someone who really loves him, but because of a certain time period she's confused because she has been working from home and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things that are there which are there. But on the other way around, if I see it up, the husband obviously is desperate because he wants to make love, but because his wife is not giving him that particular cushion that's there. On the other way around, as his factory is concerned, he's someone who is not even happy with his employees that are there, because his employees are having a lot of issues that are there, their personal problems that are there. He really does not like this cats fights and those all particular issues that are prevalent all the time. He really wants to get rid of them, and he really wants, and he's thinking about this thing that he's going to be selling his company in the near future. Here, since these are the plans that he has actually made in his mind, over here there is one more entry that we guys see, and that is of a con artist that's there. And that particular individual is played by Mila Kunis, and she's someone who really looks quite pretty, gorgeous, and charming at the same time. So she's that con artist who's there, and she's someone who eventually wants to come to his particular factory because of one particular incident that takes place. There is an unusual happening that takes place. Due to that unusual happening, one of his employees actually gets injured, and in that injury, that individual actually loses one of his balls. And now that again is something which is quite humorous. Anyhow, in the meanwhile, there is one more thing even which tends to happen. He, along with one of his friends that's there, which is being played by benaffleck, he suggests him that, like, why don't you check your wife out? Like, you hire a particular male escort, and that male escort is going to be doing what? He's going to be trying to have an affair with your wife, and if she's someone who's really into you, she won't let him do that, but if she's not, she would let him do that. And that's how the things eventually tend to go along. But the thing which tends to happen is this, that he is drugged by him, and in that drug addiction, he says that turns out to be that his wife lets him have the love making situation created with him. It means that they simply do go for it and she does not stop him. Now that is something that really fuels and ignites him up. And anyhow, on the other way around, whereas Mila Kunis, she's someone who really wants to con that particular guy. Now the problem that is there is this: he had a out of court settlement for that particular guy, but Mila eventually pops up. She convinces him that we should have a particular suing case that's there, and we should sue the factory owner and stuff like that and all those particular things. So that's how the things eventually tend to go along. And in the meanwhile, she even wants to go and study about that particular thing, and she joins the factory as an intern. As soon as she joins the factory as an intern, the things eventually are totally, there, and he actually starts falling for that particular girl. And then eventually he comes to know after a certain time period that she's a con artist and stuff like that. Whereas on the other way around, his wife, he comes to know that she actually did make out 12 times with that particular guy. After 12 times, she realizes this thing up that she's doing wrong. Anyhow, that's what American culture is over here, that like she should have stopped him for the first time, but she didn't anyhow. Then again, both of them are trying to go along with the things and stuff like that. They both have a certain separation for a certain time period. They have a neighbor who's extremely disturbing, and the frustration that his wife has, because when she obviously the secret gets revealed, she takes it out on that particular neighbor, and that pissing neighbor obviously is scolded by her, and he eventually dies. Now on the funeral, they eventually do get a chance to catch up again, and then eventually they do make out, and means they catch up all the particular things that are there and so on like that. Whereas on the other way around, the con artist Mila Kunis is no more, because she's also caught by him, and she promises that she's not going to show her face again, otherwise he's going to be calling the cops and stuff like that. Whereas the guy who was going to be suing him, he gives him the position as a manager, floor manager, and he's okay and happy with that. So this is how the story eventually tends to go along. A totally unusual kind of a film that was there, but really interesting and really nice. If you guys have not gone for it, I'd prefer you guys to go for it. Anyhow, this is me, so saying goodbye to you people. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Take care. Bye.